Hey, welcome to another episode of Politics and Wellness. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and you, of course, are my co host for this evening. It is great to see you all. We're definitely going to get into some things. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It is always great to see you another week so we can talk about some things. And of course, you guys are the co-hosts, and so is, the Brown. Um, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I know I'm gonna miss some stuff, so reel it back or remind me, hey, because there's a lot to talk about. I do want to briefly, although everyone is talking about it, I do want to briefly give my thoughts on the whole Kirk Franklin thing, even with the new audio that was dropped by the Armand Wiggins show. Definitely want to talk about that a little bit, not too much, because I'm not trying to give that too much energy, but I definitely want to talk about that. Also, uh, a lot of things going on with the district attorney out of Baltimore. Ever since she decided to charge the officers in the Freddie Gray case, if any of you who are familiar with that, they have been gunning for her, um, just like sharks smelling blood, um, and they may have gotten something, at least something that they can use for political fire to get rid of her and have her exit from her job. Nothing unusual that the rest of these politicians don't do, but if they're trying to gun for you, they will use anything they need. Um, Also, moving forward with Mitch McConnell and him talking about retiring, and Democrats now signaling that they will destroy the filibuster. We'll see how that goes. But there may be some truth to that because a lot of the Democrats who are younger and looking towards a future in Washington, D.C., are talking about destroying the filibuster. So we shall see what happens with that. So all of this won't be in any kind of order. So uh, we'll definitely be going as it goes along. Please forgive me. I did get off work, so I jumped on here and I thought I had my notes all together, and yeah, fooled me because what I had is not showing up. But anyway, um, let's get into a lot of this. Let's definitely get into, for one, the shooting, the recent one, and the past one, and the stabbing at the McDonald's, where a young boy was stabbed in the neck. So it's a lot, a whole lot. I definitely want to congratulate Senator Warnock on uh, his speech that he gave on the floor condemning the uh, the act of violence that fell to the people of Atlanta during during the thank you, Patty Duke, who fell to the people of Atlanta during that time when the man attacked those spas. Right now, touching a little bit on that. Now, I know this may touch on some people's toes, but it has been in my spirit since the thing happened that I understand um, nobody is wishing death or violence upon anybody. Like, that is definitely not something that none of us wish upon anybody. But I still can't shake from me the images of Black people, of African people, um, either being pushed from or yanked out of beauty supply stores, or in China, Africans who are working there being discriminated against, basically saying blacks not allowed, being ripped from their homes that they have in China, uh, all due to coronavirus outbreaks and things of that nature. So it's just a bit um, makes me go, that the level of uh when will it stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, when will we stop? For one, some things are just not our fight. Uh, and although, again, we don't want violence or death to come upon anybody, some things are not just for us. Sometimes we need to just sit back and see how this plays out. And maybe other people will start to see, well, hey, we don't treat others so great either. Maybe we need to start doing better, because we're good enough for you to spend your money on. We're good enough to have all of these beauty supply shops sewn up. We're good enough to have all the nail supplies sewn up and put into our neighborhoods. We're good enough for all that. And then we want to um, rally around when Johnny Boy, who's probably been going to these salons for God knows how long and getting happy endings from all these women who were probably, you know, slaves in some form themselves, for a green card or whatever it was. Um, when he decides that somebody said, you know what, I'm not going to, we can no longer support him or allow him to do this, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Um, it is really a problem. Yeah, like, I'm gonna sit back and sip my drink. And again, I'm not saying happy for or anything of that nature, because nobody deserves to lose their life. Nobody does at all. But it is funny to me how, when our lives are lost, there is not this huge rally like, oh, stop the violence against Asian Americans. How about Asian Americans and Asians in general stop the racist discriminational, can you hear me? The racist discrimination that they exhibit to please the white counterparts that they're so much trying to emulate, or I don't even know what you call it. But at the end of the day, um, you know, you're much on the other side as we are. I mean, as much as you try to pander to them to, make sure or seem like you're different from the rest of us, you are too. Because when you're singled out in this manner, you see what happened. You see instantly that police officer said, "Oh, he's just having a bad day." A bad day. A bad day. A bad day is maybe he walked into the place and they told him no, and he, did whatever he did to one spa. That's a bad. If you want to say bad day, I'd give that a bad day. That's not a bad day when you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to God knows how many of these places and shoot up people. That's more than a bad day. That's a sick individual. And no, and not nobody sick that gets a pass, but that's, there's more to that than just, oh, I was addicted to sex. Addicted to sex was enough for you to get, so you don't get the death penalty. That's why you jumped on that one. But there's more to that. But anyway, I digress. And the reason why I brought that up is because I recently came across this story of this young man, a young boy rather, who was in McDonald's with his family. All right. And I'm not even going to tell you where it was. I just want you to listen to this brief story so you can get a feel of the difference of everything, right? So this young man, how you doing? Welcome to everybody who popped in the chat. Hello, 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 hello. He popped it. He was in McDonald's with his family, okay, in a downtown area, and he was grabbed up, pushed to the ground, and stabbed in the neck by an assailant, right? And as I watched the news article or watched the news, feed thing going through. I'm looking at the report, like the news reporter was giving, and everything was, oh my God, not in this neighborhood, not in this area. I feel so safe in this area. I never have to worry about nothing in this area because I'm so safe. Oh my gosh, I would be worried if my child was going to get some ice cream or French fries and something like that could possibly happen. And then we see the picture of the assailant, and it happens to be a black man. And again, we go into, oh, I feel so safe in this neighborhood. I would feel like it's, you know, that would be a shame if I couldn't allow my child to go into that local McDonald's and get this and get that and da 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 da. And it was all this talk constantly about not feeling safe and oh my gosh, and that's horrible. Granted, it was horrible, and I think the man might have been lost a couple marbles, but granted, it was horrible. But the way in which that was kind of like, oh my God, I would feel unsafe. I would be so worried. I'm so worried. And then I just thought about looking at this situation here that we have with the shooting in Atlanta. And it was like, you talk about it once and you really never even show the guy's face ever. Like, you talk about it, but you don't show his face. You never show his face. You never show his face at all. You showed it the one time and then that's it. Everything else is kind of like, oh, that's very depressing. We talk more about Asian violence or the rise of hate crimes against Asians than anything. But I've noticed in that particular article where the black older man had stabbed this young kid in the neck. Now, they don't even say if the kid was black or white, but I'm just assuming from the area and everybody they interviewed, it was probably a white kid. So, everybody was just, I'm so ashamed. I would be so scared. I would be so scared. And yet we can look at this terrorist or murderer or whatever you want to call him and quickly dismiss it as, oh, well, he was just, he was just having a bad day, or it was a crime of sexual passion. And then just last night, there's the shooting in Colorado, right? And instantly, we didn't even have to go through any rigmarole about him being captured, awaiting a sentence, awaiting anything. Colorado, the man just shot up some people, and I believe they happen to be of Middle Eastern descent. Again, brown. And already, they done already put the hammer down on this person for 10 years. So I'm just like, I'm confused as in what we look at as across the board murders, or do we look almost like how justice is supposed to be blind, but yet still peeking her head, through the little cloth and going, well, who's that? Are they? Oh, okay. Because it's not equal across the board. It's almost like we're giving, certain things are given a little extra leeway to understand. Oh, I get it. Oh, well, there's just what young men do, and others are looked at, well, it's not even what young men do. It's uncalled for, and they're getting thrown the book at them. And granted, every crime, you do the crime, you do the time. But I'm just saying it needs to be equal. We need not to look at one situation and instantly say, well, he's addicted to sex, blah, 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 blah. His sugar was too high. or craziness. Like even because I did watch the video, because I know last week I didn't see the little clip of the sports announcer calling the team of basketball girls niggers because they decided to kneel during the national anthem, and then how he claims he was having a sugar attack is the reason why he said the N-word, which, I mean, total BS. But the fact that you can say something like that and then turn around and blame it on something, and instantly it's kind of excused, like people look at you sideways, but you get a pass. And that, to me, it don't make sense. It really, really, truly doesn't. I mean, even going back to the case of the young man killing the people in the spas, his mother started a GoFundMe account. It has raised over $2.6 million thus far. 2.6. $2.6 million. Now, who is benefiting off of this? It's not just the family. Like, and GoFundMe, benefits from it, and nobody says nothing, like it's like, oh, well, long as the people put it out there, but they get a percentage of whatever the funds are. So, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What's going on here? Are we promoting hatred? Is this what it is? Is this what pays? Or only promoting hatred depending on who's doing the hating? Because clearly, white folks support, even half white folks. You ain't even got to be fully white no more to do a hate crime of some sort, and white folks support you because they feel like, oh, okay, you down with the team. Look, George Zimmerman, his mama's every bit of not white, and yet they still go around and support him. So I mean, it's just it's crazy. It really is, and we're chasing so many other things to the point where I'm at a loss. Like, people are really dying out here, and certain areas, we don't all live in urban areas anymore. We have branched out, and some of us do live in white areas. And hey, I go into the store thinking, let me hurry up and get my shit before somebody decides to, oh, I don't like my life today, or I didn't get a happy ending. Let me light up this grocery store. Let me light up this Walmart. No, ain't nobody got time for that. And I think we lose sight of like a real agenda that's happening, and we try to placate all these extra things that are going on. And the real agenda is that one person, although he was not the spark of this hatred, he was the one that ushered the hatred into the light, that took it from being something that was talked about in small circles or not around everybody, and made them feel comfortable enough to kick their feet up and say, hey, we're here, and we don't like you, and we don't think that you deserve to be here, and all this other stuff. And not only that, but have awoken that same kind of energy in younger people. So it's not like we're talking about people's grandparents and fathers and thinking, oh, well, their kids are going to be different. No, we're talking about kids that are thinking like their grandparents and their parents, which then continues the cycle of all of this that we are dealing with. So I don't know. Sometimes I just like, we definitely need to like hone in more on what's going on around us, and less about the nonsense. Like, a lot of that stuff, sometimes I just be like, wow, like this is really happening on TV, where you can sit there. They must have put that black man's face up about good 3, 4, 5 times. And oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. But the white man wants. They talked about the crime more than anything. Hey, what's going on? They talked about the crime more than anything, but they only put that white man up once. Only once. That other gentleman, 10 years. He looking at 10 years already. He just did it yesterday. They're looking at giving him 10 years plus max or whatever they can give him already. He ain't even had a court date yet. So I just don't, I'm just like, hey, know that this system is not geared towards us. If you didn't know it, you need to know it. And it don't really matter who's in the White House to kind of push them gears, because there's people still playing both sides of the fence in this game. There's no way that man whose mother started a GoFundMe has 2-point-something million in a GoFundMe account. And you mean to tell me that the same people that ain't sitting in or voting Democratic isn't supporting mess like that? They're just not letting it be exposed. So my theory was, let it be out. Just like when you, just like when you donate to politicians, right? It can be made public. My thing is, do that. So then you get to see who's really supporting these types of causes. And you can then align what you support behind the people you support. That's all. But I know that could be a touchy situation with things and things in the world. But I'm just like, I am just fed up really with the in my face you're doing one thing, behind my back it's a whole different story. There's no way you can sit here and be okay with a murderer, a serial killer of some sort, family just getting $2-point-something million, and everybody just thinking that's hey okay. Almost to say is, well, if George Floyd's family can get 27 million, we can support one of our brothers who just killed some Asians. And nobody, everybody's okay. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't get it. Moving right along from that, because I'm enough about that. I will talk about the Kirk Franklin thing, and you guys can pop on and share your comments if you like, or put them in the chat, however you choose. It's no worries. But I will say this. Now, I've had this discussion with other people, and my thoughts have not changed. I don't necessarily think Kirk Franklin did it. I do believe he possibly knows who did. And they tried to help their son through counseling and all that kind of stuff, and it just wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough for him. He wants justice for what was done to him. He doesn't want the typical, especially in our community, because that's all I can talk about because I am Black, of this kind of, it's okay, you made it through, pray about it, dust your knees off, and go on and be a productive citizen and don't think about it. Yet the person that actually committed that attack against the younger person is fine. They get to live life and be fine. And then sometimes you have to still interact with the person. And you sitting there like, really? I really got to sit here and interact with you? I really got to sit here and act like nothing happened? That's ridiculous. And I think that's the part that the young man is dealing with that. We quick to always, oh, he's got mental issues. No, his issue is the fact that he probably still has to deal with not only the person who violated him because it's somebody close in the family network, but he also has to deal with the fact that his parents or parent did not protect him like they should have, and they felt like, well, if I avert him from it and throw him into this, he'll be able to move on, and he hasn't. And so now you're at a point where he don't really care, he don't really care for you because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Now, some of it could just be, you gave him a certain lifestyle and he's used to it. And then you tell him, all right, you so-and-so years old now, do it for yourself. Yeah, okay. See if that works. Because that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not. I mean, in theory, yeah, it sounds great. But if you ain't trained him to kind of do that on his own and be that independent person and source, then that's not going to happen. And stuff like this will happen. So if I know it's going to be salacious, and not only is it going to get your attention, it's going to demand your attention from me, then yeah, I'm gonna do this. But the reason why it's from a place of hurt and far more than a place of thought, because if the young man was thinking about what he was doing, he would realize that if he destroys his father, then he destroys his funds as well. Because if his father is destroyed, where is he going to get his money from? I'll wait. So I'm just saying, like, it's not a thought of that. It's a thought of, I just want to, as much as I'm hurting you, as much as I'm hurt, I want you to hurt. Period. I want you to hurt. And until you acknowledge my hurt and who caused my hurt, then, we won't have that. And, I know he, said, that Kirk was his abuser in so many ways, allegedly, but we can feel that way. If you are abused by someone, speaking of myself, it was a family member. And my later on in life, when I spoke to my brother about it, and he revealed to me that same had happened to him. And I'm just like, I instantly said to myself, but you're older than me. You're older than me. And if that happened to you from that person, then why wouldn't you say, hey, Ma, don't take them over, because me and my twin sister, of course, are younger than, don't take them over there. And did more of a protection thing, but it was more like, well, I'm all right. So, you'll be all right. And it was kind of, I was for a while, I'd say a good while, I was very hurt by that because I didn't feel protected. Like what my mom may not have known at the time, because I don't think she did at the time, but of course later on she did. But at the time, I don't think she knew, but my brother knew. And it was my thing, like, okay, you were supposed to protect me. You are my older brother. You're supposed to, like, hey, look out for me. And the fact that at that point you didn't, because either you didn't know how, or I don't know what it was, but in that sense is where I kind of can see that there is a disconnect there of him being so mad at his father for not protecting him for what had accosted him, that he don't care anything about his father's fame right now or his reputation at this moment, because it's not what he's going for. He's just going for the attention of his father. And I get it in a sense. I mean, do I think he's gone a bit far? Yes, I do. But I still don't think it is fair for a lot of people who have been judged by the likes of a Kirk Franklin because of his religious walk or whatever, like how he did Tone and other artists, to then point the finger and go, aha, it's happening to you. See, look, I mean, really, if you really Christian, then you are doing the wrong move, because that's really not what the faith is supposed to be about. But if you do it and participate in it, then you just know better than anybody else. But hey, what's going on, King? But I'm just, I'd be really confused about how you can at one point be so stuck on this to where you are like, oh, Kirk Franklin was wrong for cursing at his son. You know how many times my own mother would say, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out, or you ain't gonna disrespect me, I literally kill you. Don't necessarily mean that she would literally kill me. I mean, I knew that, but it's just the anger and frustration of what they're dealing with. And for people to spin this as if, well, he threatened to kill him. Come on, like, we're really going too far. Like, those of us who've grown up in black homes, we know exactly what it is. If your parent feels disrespected, oh, it's on and popping. And those of us who are men know that when we got a certain age, those of us that had our fathers around or stepfathers or what have you, we push that button. We push that envelope like, okay, I can take you. Let's go. And it didn't always work out so great, but you initially thought you could, you know what I'm saying? And you got your ass dealt it to you. I mean, I don't see, anything out of place about that. Now, as far as the allegations are concerned, yes, they are horrendous and horrible and all that stuff. But we need to hold, if anything we've learned, is hold back our judgment until everything is out, the facts are out, and we know exactly what happened. Until then, let the speculation be the speculation. And what we know or heard, let it be just that. And we just go with, okay, all right, I've heard it. But I've also, you also know other people on the other side. Like even with the Pascal show interviewing the person who had the audio or leaked the audio or what have you. I mean, it was just like an opportunist just watching an opportunist, that once he knew that this argument between Kirk Franklin and his son had got out, that he had this audio, he was automatically going to use it to shop around and see who was going to bite at this chance to have this whole, I'm going to be part of the story too. I'm just like, come on, like, can we please stop everybody just trying to grab onto a 15 minutes of fame from someone's hurt, though? Like, we're not talking about your 15 minutes of fame because you did something silly and stupid and or whatever, and it brought notoriety to yourself, but you trying to get fame off of somebody else's hurt and pain that they've been dealing with practically since God knows how long. Like, come on, what kind of person are you? What kind of people have we become? Is my issue, but I don't know. But anyway, moving past that, the filibuster bit, Mitch McConnell's thinking about leaving. Of course, he's trying to burn the Senate down before he leaves, and kind of make people feel threatened by his presence, that he could stop a lot of President Joe Biden and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris's a lot of their agendas. But as you can see from this latest stimulus, he has realized he does not have that much power. Now, I'm not saying that I don't think he he has no power, because I don't think so. I think he does have certain senators kind of in his back pocket because they are their state are very Trump friendly. So like Joe Manchin, who is the senator for West Virginia, I think at any moment he could try and use him to flip and vote with the Republicans at some point to then stop the Democrats from pushing anything forward. We'll see how that goes. I really wish they would get rid of the filibuster. I really, I don't care for turkey neck anyway, but I just think he's a huge hypocrite how he would sit there and use the filibuster for his own benefit to get tax breaks across to the rich and all these other things that he knows that using the regular Senate vote would not have gone through. But he used the filibuster to make sure Kavanaugh went through, and with that whole thing. And then come to find out, recently it's been reported that the FBI fudged Brett Kavanaugh's background check. Are we not surprised, people? So they're asking for the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who was denied a chance to be seated on the Supreme Court thanks to Mitch McConnell. He is now the Attorney General of the United States. They're asking him to look into the possibility of unseating Brett Kavanaugh because the FBI lied on his background check, because there were numerous reports, eyewitnesses of a lot of the other misconduct type of things that Brett Kavanaugh had done. So I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot going on. Well, I mean, they need to go after his wife. They're not really going to go after Mitch McConnell's wife. They should, but I mean, everybody in the Trump kind of aura and administration had some kind of dirt going on. So it's not, I really don't see them going after anybody. I think the biggest person they want to go after is Donald Trump. But, and I think at some point they were going to weasel out of that too. They're going to just, you pay these fines and we're going to keep it moving. But I mean, I think he's done far more crimes than that. His family has done far more crimes than that. But, those type of people don't really get, they don't really wind up going to jail. Very seldom is the, what's that guy? The dude that did the hedge funds, and he wind up going to jail. But very seldom do, evading tax, white collar, literally white collar people go to jail like that. But they'll send us to jail real quick. They'll send our famous people to jail for smaller tax bills, for tax bills that they really could have paid in their sleep, but they just either chose not to, or whomever they had handling their finances did not do so. So I just find it to be real stupid. Hey, welcome to everybody who just popped in. Again, not talking about much, just a whole bunch of stuff. I did want to also talk about very briefly, because I'm going to, again, bring this back up on Thursday for the gentleman's panel, but they're reopening the case of the young man who was some years ago, I think 6 years ago, was found in a gymnasium with his insides taken out and wrapped in newspaper. They are now reopening the case because they found new evidence of possibly someone confessing to actually committing the murder, or knowing of whom actually committed the murder, killing that young man. I think he was a sophomore in high school or something like that. So new evidence has come out about that. And just hopeful for justice, man. I'm really hoping that justice really shows up. The trial will soon be underway for uh, George Floyd. And although a lot of people feel like, oh, they got money, so justice was served, justice is not served because once again, like I said last week, just because that family got money or has received money from their loss does not mean that does not give the police um, the green light to do it again, because there's no consequences being dealt to any of these officers. I mean, we're looking at Breonna Taylor's case yet again, with the boyfriend suing the police department, the city, and the state against their treatment of not only him but his girlfriend at the time. So I mean, it's a lot. It really is a lot. And when we think you've progressed in some point, there's still problems. But on the inside, speaking of that, I did read a story that Tamir Rice's mom, and Tamir Rice was the young man who was killed by police officers who just pulled up and shot him because they got a call that there was a young man in the park playing with a gun that they reported on the recording was possibly some sort of BB gun or something. But still, they just pulled up and shot him. They didn't ask no questions. They didn't, hey, was that young man put it down? Nothing. They just pulled up and shot him. That Tamir Rice's mom is also going after many other groups that have used her son to profit off of. And I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about that. I feel two ways. I mean, I feel like, people should not be able to profit off of anyone's pain, right? But at the same time, it has brought awareness to your son's life. It has brought awareness to countless others by having these movements out here. A lot of these stories would have gone unnoticed, unreported, unwitnessed, had it not been for a lot of these demonstrations and marches and things. So so when we look at who's really benefiting from this, I think it's a disservice when we do that. Almost as if the people on the inside, as far as like maybe the city government or whatever, when the family is going, well, hey, we want money for what you've done. Oh, well, don't you think you should go to Black Lives Matter or so and so and so because they're making so much money off your son's name? And it's just like, how much money did the city make off of the death of that young boy or young girl? How much did that bring in? Because let's not all sugarcoat that. Still having protests and people fly in from wherever, are they not paying for room and board in your hotels? Are they not eating in your restaurants in your cities? So who's really benefiting from these protests and marches? They go into the local churches and the local community centers. People are coming to support them in their rally and their cause, paying for tickets, buying books, God knows what else, buying merchandise. So who is really benefiting from this pain? I think there's a few people benefiting from the pain, and they wouldn't be the only group. What you say? You have a mother who is not allowed to properly grieve over her son and taking. Yeah, I mean, right. But of course, but that's not, that's never looked at like that. It's just looked at like, well, they're over there making money off of your son's likeness and on putting it on a T-shirt. But how else would somebody have known about it had it not been for people protesting in the streets and literally burning the cities down, bringing awareness to what had happened? Otherwise, they would have just had you dance in front of the cameras like they normally do, calling for peace, while at the same time making sure, well, if we pay the family off, everybody will die down and calm down. Because that seems to be the game plan that we're moving forward from now on. Pay the family first before the trial starts, and then that way we can let everybody know, wink, wink, you're good, the family's paid, everybody should be calm and nobody feel a certain type of way. So when we throw down the smallest charge, everybody should be good, and we'll be good to go. And no, it shouldn't be that way. It should never be that way. We should never stand for that. So just as much as yeah, I believe so. I believe they are. I believe both families are. Like, I believe Michael Brown's father is having some financial issues. I do. Because, I mean, you have to understand, these are people who, let's be very clear, are not used to that type of money. They're not used to that type of money. And then you have people who are sharks when it comes to that type of money. So I'm sure a lot more people were holding their hands out. The same people that was, promoting a march and standing behind you was holding their hands out, talking about, where our legal fees is about $3 million or $6 million. Or if we leave him down here to help you fight the rest of your cases, that's fine. We'll leave him down here while we go back to New York or Atlanta or wherever we go. But we'll leave a few of our lawyers down here to help you. The whole time they're down there helping, thinking, oh, you've been such a great help to the family. Thank you. Racking up a bill. So by the time they go to actually think that they're going to have something to enjoy, hey, the lawyers and that crew and all them people that came and said their speeches, they done sent their bills too. So they're not looking at that much. So yeah, of course it becomes a bit problematic. But to go after people who have really given attention and life and breath to the demise of your son or your daughter, I think is a disservice. I really do. I think you need to regroup, go back after the city, or not accept the pennies that they're giving you if you don't feel it's right, just because the lawyer says, well, this is all we gonna get. That's all you need. That is the reality. It's not all you're going to get. That's all you need. Because again, like we said last week, all that's happening is when we look at it and say, oh, the family's getting paid. No, we're paying the family. So we're the ones being victimized, again, giving our money back to victims. That's it. In hopes that we are not the next victim. And that whole system needs to change. I'm telling you, if cops were able to lose their pensions and lose any kind of investments and all those kind of little things that they have, even if they're not much, if they were to lose those, they'd stop going around thinking that they can get away with murder, literally, because they would have a lot more to lose. They don't have anything to lose. You got the gangs of these police unions protection. You have people in political office protecting, and that's crazy. Even to bring up the the chaos in the Capitol. So you mean to tell me it's okay for them to shout "Blue Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter," and all this other BS that they pull, but they can go to the Capitol, kill an officer, and that be okay? Make it make sense. Like, really make it make sense. Because right now, everything sounds like a bunch of BS, and I'm just over it. I am over it. Because you can sit there and you literally killed a police officer, but you can jump up and say Blue Lives Matter. To who? To who? Blue Lives Matter as long as they're taming and controlling black folks, right? As long as they're keeping the others down. And the others include Asians too. You know what? Part of me, and I know this may be mean to say, but part of me, when other things happen to other people, especially those in the colored section who feel like because they are not black, that they are not treated the same way per se, so they feel like they got a leg up on the situation. When stuff happens to them and they get to realize like where they are literally seriously in the totem pole, and how as much as they haven't made it as much as they think they have, that part of me in the back of my head, I smile a little bit, just a little bit. Just like when the hurricane hit Puerto Rico. I grew up in New York. You couldn't tell me that a very high, light-skinned Puerto Rican with straight hair or blonde hair didn't think he or she was damn near the closest thing to white but Spanish that they could get. And the minute that hurricane hit and Donald Trump treated them like throwing paper towels and all that other stuff, and they were so offended and so, I cannot believe he treated Puerto Rico like the part of the United States. What part? To whom? Oh, I'm sorry. You got a rude awakening that no matter how fair a skin that you may think you are, or how closer to white you may think you are, at the end of the day, to them, you are not white. And you will never be. You may be accepted close to it because you're not one of them, but to them, really, when it comes down to it, you will never be that. Just like in this instance with these spas. Well, you have all these damn spas. We know what the spas are, nothing but happy ending places. I mean, it wasn't like that young man was going there getting his feet done and didn't like the fact that he was getting his feet done by Ling Ling every week. No, he was going there getting satisfied and finished off. But we ain't going to talk about, we'll talk about Mexicans at the border and Mexicans being taken away from their families, but we won't talk about how Asians, and wealthy Asians at that, are allowed to go to China and other places in Asia, basically probably promise these people a whole new life in America, teach them how to do nails, and on the side, slut them out. But we ain't going to talk about that. That's too much. That's too much like right. But we could still talk about, we need to stop the discrimination against Asians. Asians out here enslaving themselves, their own people, giving them dreams and hopes of a better life, while the owners of these places are sitting here fat, richer than hell, okay? Richer than a little bit. But we won't talk about that. So hopefully all this can bring some light, because I'm here for this 2020 vision into 2021, being focused into what's really going on and unveiling a lot of this corrupted menagerie we got going on. But anyway, I digress. So that's basically all I got. Unless somebody wanted to pop on, I'll drop it once again. But yeah, I just found it to be a bit, it just makes me go, just all the time. It just makes me go, like, I don't get these people. Like, I don't get them at all. I don't understand them. I get it, but I don't get it. So, yeah. But anyway, other than that, this week, the Gentleman's Panel will be here on Thursday. So please make sure you come back and tune in and watch me and the rest of the boys have a great time as always on the Gentleman's Panel. I will be the host this week, so yeah, be prepared for more of this. Yeah, and some, of course, opinionated folks, as the panel members are quite opinionated. But yeah, I just what'd you say? They don't like in the history of the United States, the Chinese were treated no better than the blacks in the 19th century. Right, but they don't see that though. They don't see that though because they are allowed to have access. You know what I'm saying? They're allowed or granted access because even some whites will go, well, you know, he or she is Asian, but you're not black, you know. And it's like, oh, well, we can kind of accept you. We should not black, you know, until they get mad at them. Then they call them all kinds of racist, whatever. But it's that whole thing. Like, at least you're not, you know, at least you're not black. Because if you were black, I'd really have a problem with that. But you're Asian, I can kind of deal with that. So that's, you know, that's been their acceptance. And they've been able to use that or utilize that to think, we got one up on the rest of them. We all right. Hey, bro, are you ready, sir? Okay. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man, how are you doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
Good. Patty Duke say finished the weird. Yeah, it was a weird show.
It was a weird show. What the weird?
Huh? It was good. It was good.
I call
myself surprised, especially the ending when they tied it all up. It was good. Yeah. Yeah, but I felt the same way about the whole Oriental.
Yeah, I was just tired of hearing it. Like, it really was just like, oh, let's please stop the Asian hate. Oh, let's please stop the Asian hate. And I'm just like, we haven't watched how many years of them dragging Shaquita or whomever out the nail salon or out the hair salon, or the men physically pushing or punching them.
Yeah.
I'm lost. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be like, hey, leave the store, but you physically putting your 2-piece and a biscuit on a woman's and then think, well, it's supposed to be okay? Like, no, we're not doing that. And then excuse me, I even seen one of the prime ministers from one of the African countries, and she was like, listen, I condone the shooting or whatever that happened in Atlanta, but enough's enough. She's like, I done seen many Africans have wrote me about the treatment that they're receiving in China.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, President, you need to get it together, or we're gonna have an issue. Like, you get a lot of resources from Africa. We're gonna have an issue. I'm like, about time somebody start. She grabbed her ovaries and was like, listen, if you don't start treating my people better, that's over there helping you, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, there was one country over in Africa that they were having a summit meeting. I believe it was with the Swiss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they get all their coca from them. Mm-hmm. And he kindly announced that they will no longer be getting their raw materials from them. They were going to build their own factories, and make it and profit from it themselves. And she just looked kind of like you could hear a pin drop in there. It was funny. It was really funny. Yeah, but they do. I mean, and that's all over. That's not just here in the United States, but they're pretty arrogant.
Right.
The whole thing.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when stuff like this happens, it's like, oh, where's your arrogance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did it go by the wayside? Because because somebody who you wouldn't expect, because you wouldn't treat them like that. I've been in plenty of them, and white ladies coming in and they're rude and they're nasty and and bend over backwards and they don't nothing about it. But you try to sit there and you're paying for your stuff and you're like, well, what's the extra $5 for? Oh, it's a charge for MasterCard. It's a charge. You use the MasterCard. Like, that's not my problem. That's your business problem, not mine.
Yeah.
If you ain't said it in the beginning, we're not gonna go through this. Give me my card back. Because I'm not paying no extra $5. Thank you for no matter. But it's just the way that I just can't. I cannot deal with it.
Well, they've been so under the radar, and they figured that they would be able to, just scoot on by when Donald Trump was in office.
Right.
That they weren't going to be able, weren't going to catch any of it.
Right.
Because they're never vocal about anything.
Right. No, not at all. Not at all. They never are.
No.
It's just real. I don't know. So you finished the movie. You finished the show?
Yeah.
Like it was weird.
It was at the very end. I was like, what?
Right. Exactly. Because at first I was like, girl, like, okay, you dating? Okay, goodness gracious, maybe that. Like, then I was like, when it got to the fire part, I was like, what the hell is that going? And then I was like, and then when they did the backstory, because I'm like, this weird guy, and then he like disappeared. So then I didn't know what kind of thing happened with the guy. And it was like, oh, well, that explains it. All that stuff he was doing.
Right in the well. But the son knew something was off.
Yeah, the son knew instantly. The son knew instantly. His mother came to hey, he was like,
yeah.
Hello. I don't know if that has anything to do with like the innocence of a child.
Well, he just knew that it was just something was off.
Yeah.
He picked it up immediately.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
and then when he was
interacted with her, like,
he
was still in his father's house in the doorway, and he was walking to her, and he was like, he just stopped, like, something's not right with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you know what? She didn't want to let him go on the trip with the father. And she was just like, oh, real kind of clingy, because I would have figured that she would have ran up to him and hugged him and squeezed him and all of that kind of thing. But she was just kind of stern, and she was, right there.
Yeah.
So, that was probably enough right there, because he would just figure, oh, my mom's going to come and she's going to hug me and kiss me and all the rest of that. And she didn't even move.
Right.
And it's like, come on, that type of thing. But, it was weird. It was real. It was good though, but it was weird.
It was weird. And then I was thinking too. I'm always thinking, but like thinking too much. But I was like, what if he was racist? He is stuck in a black woman's body.
No, but he was getting that doctor stuff. So
yeah, I guess he didn't know.
That trumps it all.
Yeah.
That he can live.
He can
every white man wants to be as a black woman.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when it ended and they were riding off. I said, well, he got what he wanted. Every white man wants to be a black woman.
Right.
Yeah, her essence was off.
Yeah.
But she was dumb enough to get all tangled up in that mess in the first place.
Yeah, really trying to discover what was wrong with him, or what was wrong with her, or who was it? It was like, girl, mind your business, do your job. That's all you need to do. Do your job.
It was a part-time job, and you still had an apartment. I was trying to figure that one out. So was the husband paying alimony?
Right, because it didn't look like it at first, because the way she was fussing with him, and kind of like, and then all of a sudden when she started messing around with the boss, it was like, oh, how you doing? But at first she wasn't really talking to him.
She was British. Now, see, she was British. She should have hit him up for a raise.
Right.
He should have ousted the old lady out that was head of the office.
That was head of the office.
Start moving her out.
Talking about something. Oh, you want to talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. I just want you gone.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I'm glad you guys watched it and got to the end of it. I was really like mind blown. I was like, oh. Does that make him gay then? Because he don't know that this the guy. He think it's the girl, but it's really
it's really the guy. But like I just said, it was just he just wanted to be a black woman. Well, he just got what he could get.
Right.
But he still lucked up because he still got a doctor. So
right. Well, he got the guy that he wanted.
mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because she kept singing his praises and everything. So from the very beginning, but but other than that, it's been relatively quiet. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So
it has.
Except for all these kids down in Florida.
Yeah. What's wrong with you people?
Did you see the clip? Did you see the clip of the guy getting chased down the street by the waiters?
Yes.
That was hilarious. He tried to run out on a bill.
Right.
And the girls were twerking the whole time. Did you see that? That was hilarious.
Twerking.
Yeah, you're right, Patty Duke. He was gay.
Yeah,
he was gay. Yeah.
But it was just come like really, and in Florida no less, where Ron DeSantis was basically like, have at it, Corona, what Corona, and then y'all gonna really act a fool. Thank you. I can't. I really can't.
Yeah, well, he gave all his rich friends. They got the vaccine first.
Right.
And you have a lot of that going on where all of this vaccine is being diverted to the more influential people.
Or the more influential people are just coming to the hood. They just
they're coming down to the hood.
Yeah, they come to the inner city and getting that vaccine, and then going back to their homes.
Yeah, so that'd probably be big money to help him with re-election. During campaign time,
Right, of course.
Did you read the article on the Trump kids did the same thing? I can't remember what state it was in, but they did the same thing. Had diverted vaccines that was slated for people of color in that area, and it was Trump. They didn't say which kid it was. They just said the kids. And a lot of his.
Well, like if what's her name? Not Ivanka. Is it Ivanka?
The daughter.
Yeah. Likely. More than likely, because Trump Jr. is definitely him and Eric is definitely too dumb to do too much of anything. Like they literally like Eric is about to sink the whole ship, okay? Because his mouth, he can't. He gloats too much. He done already said that they had gotten money from the Russians to keep their golf courses and stuff open. So and that's on radio. That recorded. So
and that half of Mar-a-Lago was shut down.
Yeah,
because they had a COVID outbreak.
Yeah, had a COVID outbreak. And remember, I don't know if you knew, but the city of the area where Mar-a-Lago is didn't want Trump to live there because he had signed an agreement that he could only be there, I think, a couple months out the year, right?
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be a vacation spot, and all of them do.
It's supposed to be a vacation spot, but I think the way that he's going to get around that is if he's an employee of Mar-a-Lago, then he can stay. Yeah. So I think he's become an employee of Mar-a-Lago because, of course, he is the fixture that brings the people. But they have said that the influx of people has not been as much since he's president. So.
Oh, okay. Well, his company is falling on hard times. I tell you that much.
They're getting it. They got the plane sitting in New York, all wrapped up.
He need to go take some of those gold fixtures off that plane and sell it for some money.
But I'm trying to figure out at this point. My thought is, then who was paying to fly the plane while you was running for president? You mean the RNC was paying for your plane and the maintenance on your private plane the whole time? They had to be.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been flying that plane since you was president and you was flying it during your campaign, that means that the RNC was paying for every flight that plane took because you couldn't afford it on your own.
Yeah.
I
Right
was
now,
like,
it's sitting in pieces.
yeah, it's in like they got the one engine
One engine is missing,
and the other engine talking about something. It might be $1 million. I'm like, if this ain't the goddamn Wizard of Oz, the Wiz with Pryor's head dancing over here, and y'all really sitting up here like. I mean, sometimes I even be at work and hear the people talking about, you sent me some Democratic, da, 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 da. I don't want that mess. And I'm just like, first of all, I didn't send it to you. Secondly, you sound old as hell. Like, I can imagine you benefit off of anything the Democrats have pushed forward. But because you have such hatred for that is the reason why. It's crazy to me. I'm just like, y'all need something. Y'all be real messed up if y'all cross that river and Jesus wind up not being Goldilocks, wind up being something else. Y'all would be messed up.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, Jess, what's going on?
Yeah. How could you miss when your boy fell up the steps?
I don't want to talk about that. I did not want to talk about that because I felt like when he did the first stumble, he should have just stopped for a second and regrouped himself. The fact that
Who told him to run?
The fact that he continued to try and climb up and then really fell. I'm like, come on, Joe. Who
told him to run up those steps?
Just walk up the steps. You don't need to keep proving that you are 87 years old and you still fit. Just go. Just do.
Yeah, but I like the meme where they showed him sitting on the stair chair that takes you up the stairs.
Yeah. With his legs crossed. They're gonna put that on Air Force One.
Oh, that was hilarious. Oh man, I must have watched that like 12 times. I was like, oh man. I was like, he ain't gonna make it.
I was like, you giving it to him, Joe. Stop giving it to him. Look at here, Kamala talking about something.
I'm like, Kamala, put your tennis shoes on, girl. Put your tennis shoes on.
Right. Don't get too comfortable in the vice presidential quarters. Don't get too comfortable. Speaking of that, the white boy that tried to shoot up. Come on.
They are so emboldened now.
Seriously?
They are so emboldened.
But this is what I'm saying, that this is why, and I could say it till I'm blue in the face and probably won't be able to tell, even though I'm, not that dark. There has to be a kind of like a revamp of the police, the military. There's no way that
everything is in.
Got that
the infection is so deep.
Yes,
the infection is so deep. You'll never be able to root it out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like
you'll never be able to root it out.
It's so rot that there's no way, because somebody had to know that man or whatever and was just like, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. There's no way.
And that's even like the insurrectionists.
Yeah,
the white terrorists. Every time you hear about someone else's background, they were in law enforcement or
and that's what they're talking about
somewhere
now.
in the government.
Right, and that's what they're talking about now. Oh my gosh, I didn't know it was someone in law enforcement. Who didn't know that? I knew that. I said that from jump. Watch, y'all gonna find out. There's gonna be a whole lot of cops in this, and when you start hearing that, a lot of it gonna be like, what cop? Did they say it was a cop? No, they didn't say it was a cop. Did you hear it was a cop? No, they didn't say that. Yeah, it's a lot of cops in there. A lot of cops, a lot of military, a whole lot. Now they're talking about, oh, you see how they're in line, one behind the other. That's a military tactic. Who's surprised to not know that there were military people in there? I mean, there are military people on the border rounding up Mexicans on behalf of President Donald Trump. Not that they were asked, not that they were a part of the border patrol. They were doing it on their own. Because they wanted something to do.
Yeah, but then too, they figure they can torture them and do whatever it is they want to. and nobody would say anything.
And they'd be able to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the country a service. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. That's enough. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. But they're not gonna, deny. I don't think white folks can even deny themselves enough to really point out. I mean, there are some. I'm not saying all of them, but there are some. But the majority of them still won't deny themselves that they, that hey, we do this. They're quickly, we're not this. This is not America. No, it is.
No, it is. It is. It is America, and it is you.
Right. It's America, and it's a lot of you. And that's the first part of healing. Like when people say, "Oh, we need to talk and heal it." First of all, like the 12 AA steps say, first part of fixing the problem is admitting that you have one. So, admit that there's a huge problem of racism and everything else here first. Then you can talk about what we can do to fix it. But it's huge. It's so in everything. It's disgusting.
Definitely the Matrix. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Definitely. But no, I didn't really want to talk about Biden because I saw it and thought,
it was funny.
Damn.
It was hilarious.
Well, I hope it was like, just stay still. Just you trip the first step, stop, and walk.
Now you know why the one officer that was I guess a Secret Service guy stood at the bottom of the stairs.
Right.
To catch him just in case he rolled.
If you roll back. I just thought it was like, oh gosh, and Fox News could do nothing but see, this is the president. Say, look how old he is. He can't even off the steps. Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like talking about the same person who had toilet tissue on his shoe the whole way up the steps.
The walking piece of shit had toilet paper hanging from his shoe.
And stuck to his ass, clearly walking up the steps. Like, come on. It's ridiculous.
But what Joe should have done was once he got inside the airplane, he should have got to his social media crew and told them he should have made fun of it first.
Yeah.
Because if he'd have owned it first, then everybody had a good laugh, and then it went on about his business.
But you know what I think it is? He's just trying to stay away from using it as Trump did. Yeah. Which I mean, I think at this point, hell, use it. You know what I'm saying? Like it will help you connect with younger people who are on it. Use it.
Yeah, you might as well. Everybody else is.
Right.
And they're going to look at you strange because you're not.
That's why I say too.
Because you're not. When you hear Trump's talking about trying to start his own platform.
Social media, I heard that. And I'm sure he will. But who's going to fund it? Because it won't be Trump.
Oh, they'll fund it. They'll fund it. They'll have a GoFundMe for that too.
That's a far more bigger bill than they even anticipate. I'm sure. I don't know about that, but good luck.
Yeah, but even with these, just with Joe in these 60 some odd days, it feels like a million years.
Yeah, it does feel like a long.
It feels long.
It does.
It feels real long.
Too long. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. Well, thank you for popping in and chilling with us and hanging out with me. Definitely always greatly appreciate it. Remember that this week is my week to host the Gentleman's Panel. So, make sure you make your way back this way so we can hang out, have a good time, and have more juicy, salacious topics to talk about. But until next time, America, be safe, wear your damn mask, social distance, and all that good stuff. All right, peace. Later.
Good night.